The Georgia Guidestones have been partly wrecked. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Yes, you heard that right. A bomb. Maybe, because the eye and ear witness reports are sketchy, has wrecked one of the famous Georgia Guidestones. One of the 5 standing pillars is nothing but a mess of rubble and powder. And you can see a chunk broken off the capstone. I'm going to tell you what I know as opposed to the breathless speculation even by the authorities. Then I'm going to give you a brief history of the Georgia Guidestones, some vandalism that has happened to them before, and stick with me to the end. I'm going to wrap up with a parallel to this incident that goes back to the days of the ancient Israelite kings. Then you can decide whether this is an act of God or man. Before I go any further, I do want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, including this t-shirt that I have chosen for today. It reads, "I need new conspiracies as though the old ones came true." Now this isn't exactly conspiracy territory, but it's close. Because part of what we don't know is who put the Georgia Guidestones up in the first place. Okay, this much we know. And as I said, one of the 5 standing blocks has collapsed into rubble. The capstone has also suffered some damage. Details of this incident are sketchy, though reports have come in from at least 7 sources so far. The sources include 11 Alive, WSPA TV, Fox 5 Atlanta, Fox News, WGXA, WYFF TV, a very important source, as I'll get to, and a Telegram user by the name of Lauren Witzke. Hey Lauren, if you're out there, many thanks for one of the first pictures on the ground. Media organs have rushed to report and to find a rational, that is, non-spiritual explanation for what happened. A Twitter user named John Mankey shared a photograph. His or a media photograph, he didn't make clear. I've left a link in the description. The featured image in the article, to which I have a link, comes from Lauren Witzke. In addition, WYFF TV sent a helicopter to overfly the Georgia Guidestones site, and they took 30 seconds of footage. Now, at 4 a.m. Eastern Time, witnesses heard and felt something. Lauren Witzke said the first reports mentioned an earthquake. Elbert County, Georgia is in a known active earthquake belt, and I've left a link in the description to an earthquake tracking site for Georgia and the surrounding states. But no one has reported any earthquake activity in or near the region at or near 4 a.m. today. The Elbert County Sheriff's Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation both blame the damage on an explosion. They have no suspects, rounded up or otherwise, with apologies to Claude Raids from Casablanca. But one mystery remains. The chatter on Telegram reveals that the Georgia Guidestones have been under continuous camera surveillance for a very long time. Vandalism against the Georgia Guidestones has been an incessant problem since 2008. So, why will no one in authority release the surveillance footage? If someone did set off a bomb on the Guidestones, the sheet of flame would show up. Now, I will tell you what are the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones have stood since 1980 on a high hill near Elberton, Georgia. No one knows who commissioned or erected them, which is why people call it America's Stonehenge. The architect used the false name Robert C. Christian, under which he made all the arrangements. The stones consist of one central slab with 4 projecting slabs arranged at the points of a compass standing around it. A capstone surmounts these 5 blocks. The 5 blocks hold 10 specific commands in English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. The commands are these. 1. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 2. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. 3. Unite humanity with a living new language. Oh boy, often have we heard that. Anyone remember Esperanto? 4. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. 7. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8. Balance personal rights with social duties, whatever those might be. 9. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Yeah, see? Repeated. Now, this is not the first time that the Georgia Guidestones have come under some kind of attack. The first act of vandalism happened in 2008. Someone defaced the stones with polyurethane paint and spray paint. I've left a link in the description to an image taken immediately afterward. It's on PhotoBucket, so it will carry their watermark. They left at least 3 slogans, among them, and I quote, "The elite want 80% of us dead, see number 1. They then painted an arrow pointing upward. Now, just so you know, 500 million people is less than 20% of humans now living. More vandalism happened in 2014. Someone spray painted, "I am Isis, goddess of love, I banish all darkness," and a few other messages on the stones. An Elbert County Maintenance Department employee called the FBI after that incident. That case is still open. And now this. And again, surveillance footage should be available, but so far, the only footage I have seen is from the helicopter overflight from that TV station, WYFF. Now let's take a break here because I want to shout out to another sponsor, BitNext. This is your replacement for Zoom, Slack, the Google G Suite, Microsoft Office 365, Dropbox, WeTransfer, and Chili Piper, among others. Unlike any of them, BitNext protects your content and conversations so well that even the administrators can't see it. So this is your channel for secure comms, conferencing, cloud storage, and file sharing. Best of all, everything is back-end, so you don't even need client software. If you have a browser, you can use BitNext. Follow the link and give them a try. 28 days free of charge. You can't beat that with a stick. All right. Now, as I've just got finished saying, vandalism has been a persistent problem for the Georgia Guidestones since at least 2008. Now, the 10 commands, for lack of a better word, would require a totalitarian, even brutal solution. At present, the Earth has nearly 8 billion people living on it. To bring that number down to 500 million, nearly 90% of human beings would have to die. Either that, or more than 90%. Now, either that or one would have to wait until attrition from warfare, famines, disease, or simple refusal to have children took its toll. The total fertility rate in the United States now stands at 1.7, significantly below the most optimistic replacement level. But that's an average, and it includes South Dakota and Utah, where fertility exceeds replacement. The rest of these commands look like New Age mystic commands. So someone could have tried to blow the Guidestones up. Still, that would be a significant escalation from painting slogans to using high explosives. Furthermore, where is the surveillance footage? And why does no media source mention such footage? Lauren Whiskey thinks she knows what happened, namely that this is a literal act of God. In fact, you can find precedent for an act of God in the Bible, and specifically in chapter 13 of the first book of the Kings. King Jeroboam I, having rebelled against Rehoboam, son of Solomon, and set up his own kingdom, also built 2 altars on Tel Bethel and Tel Dan. I've seen the one at Tel Dan, by the way. He was about to burn incense on the one at Tel Bethel when he had an interruption. The analyst for the Kings describes it this way. Now behold, a man of God came from Judah to Bethel by the word of the Lord, while Jeroboam was standing at the altar to burn incense. And he cried out against the altar by the word of the Lord. And he said, Altar, altar, this is what the Lord says. Behold, a son shall be born to the house of David, Josiah by name, and on you he shall sacrifice the priests of the high places which burn incense on you, and human bones shall burn on you. Then he gave a sign on the same day, saying, This is the sign which the Lord has spoken. Behold, this altar shall be torn in pieces, and the ashes which are on it shall be poured out. Now when the king heard the statement of the man of God, which he cried out against the altar in Bethel, Jeroboam stretched out his hand from the altar, saying, Seize him. But his hand, which he had stretched out toward him, dried up, and he could not draw it back to himself. The altar also was torn to pieces, and the ashes were poured out from the altar, in accordance with the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. 1 Kings chapter 13, verses 1 through 5, New American Standard. And King Josiah of Judah, second of the great reformers, did exactly as that prophecy said. 2 Kings 23, verse 20. Look it up. Read it there. Read it and weep. Now, getting back to the Georgia Guidestones, as I said before, details of the latest incident remain sketchy. In fact, the ear witness accounts are inconsistent. One witness says he lives a mile away from the stones and heard and felt nothing. But others talk of something booming and making enough noise to wake them or shaking their homes. Arguably, the 10 guidelines or commands on the stones constitute a direct attack on God and his message. Keep the human population under 500 million, reason superseding faith and tradition, harmony with nature. These are commands to worship the creation, not the creator. So, have we seen an act of God? Or did someone with a merely human motivation try to blow the stones up? Is the GBI telling the truth, or making it up as they go along and hiding something from us? And where is the hard objective evidence for a bomb? Stay tuned. Links in the description of the article, to the tweet showing another photograph of the stones, to the earthquake tracking link, to that PhotoBucket photo of the 2014 incident, and to Conservative News and Views. I have another, that's the 2008 incident. And I have another link to the awesome online store, to BitNext, as I also mentioned. If you like what you've heard, you can like this video. On the end screen, I'm going to put in a subscribe link and also a link to a 17-minute video giving an early era history of the Georgia Guidestones from a local TV station, and a playlist of the best reports on what happened today. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.